It's Valentine's Day weekend, and that means new GW.
Spiky bits.
Welcome back, Age of Sigmar Maniacs. I'm Baer from SpikyBits.com, and this weekend, Games Workshop has a shotgun blast of releases for you from Age of Sigmar to even Warhammer 40k with the Genestealer Call. But today, we're going to show you this new box right here, the Carrion Empire. So the Carrion Empire is Games Workshop's latest starter bundle deal, this time for Age of Sigmar. And I don't think we've seen one for Age of Sigmar since Blight Wars, which was a great one. But it was kind of, I think the halves were basically start collecting boxes kind of squished together with like some new stuff inside of them, of course, with two new characters, just like in this one right here. You got the Abhorrent Arc Regent and the Bombardier, Skaven Warlock Bombardier. So each one of these boxes, just like the ones in years past, have 4 units inside of them. Price point is $160. The total estimated value inside of the box is probably between $300 and $320. I would say somewhere around the $310 range, depending if you price these two guys at $25, which seems to be about what most clan pack characters are going for these days from Age of Sigmar. So it comes with a pretty decent amount of stuff that you could use. Skaven, of course, the new battle tome has a whole bunch of different keywords kind of mashed into it, so you can take I think it's Clan Skyer that has all the war machines and stuff, and you're not just pigeonholed into like taking Pestilence, which had a previous book, and then these guys were just kind of pigeonholed in out of the battle tomes. And of course Flesh-Eater Courts got a reboot. They all got like new endless spells, they got new terrain features and stuff, so it's kind of cool to see. And monetarily speaking, it's smart on Games Workshop's part to just put out a double kit along with a couple of new terrain features, maybe some endless spells, just some stuff that's easy to crank out. They have it all produced in China. This one isn't. This was made in the UK, but the other terrain features were definitely designed in the UK and produced in China. So it gives them this 1-2 punch of being able to provide what looks like a new release, but really it's just kind of like a freshener and a rewrite of the codex, so to speak. But obviously the Skaven one's going to be more in depth. But we're not really here to talk about all that. We're here to talk about this box set. All of these units have been previously released in the past. These are actually the same kit, and these are the same kit. These are all separate kits that you would have to buy separately. So Flesh-Eater Courts a little bit. It doesn't have as many kits as you would imagine, but when you start flipping through the book, you notice that there's a lot. It's just versions of the same kit, and we've reviewed all of these here on the channel in the past 10 years or so. But we're going to take a closer look, open this up, show you the content that it actually comes with, along with the 2 new guys right here. Oh, and real quick, I wanted to show you this. So this is a little bit more beefier than your normal box set. Normally it's kind of sealed, and this isn't me repackaging it wrong. This actually came this thick right here. So once you open it up, and of course it's upside down, but that's okay. You'll notice that it comes without sprues on top. Normally they had the card, or actually I think the card's in between, but there's not that much content. The content's right down here, and it's protected by a little kind of poster piece, which is a relatively new addition because a lot of the content, the packets of papers and things was coming damaged. So good on Games Workshop for putting that in there to help protect what you're paying for, which a lot of times is the rules for the miniatures, because we buy the miniatures because of the rules a lot of times, right? And this one obviously is a bundle deal, so it's pretty good. You got your 2 new characters right here, which we're going to review in depth, and then of course all of the sprues as well that make this up. And at the bottom, since we're here right now, we'll slide it right out of the way and show you all that. Comes with individual instruction booklets, all the War Scroll cards, which is a very nice touch by Games Workshop. And remember, if they're too big, they have this like double kind of centerfold, fold out kind of type deal. So that's pretty neat to see. And we hadn't seen a Skaven pack like this. The Skaven pack that's out already is not like this. So that was cool. And of course, now they're out right now. So this is a redesign, and of course you've got all of them as well. Skaven had dice in their new kit, or their new releases. The Flesh-Eater Courts did not have dice. That was the only difference and similarity between the two. So there's all those. And you've got a little instruction manual, which we'll show you here in a second, or a campaign manual, which actually has got some really good content in here. If you and a friend buy this, you can not only learn to play Age of Sigmar, but you can also have some evenly matched battles against each other. And I'm not going to show you any more on this, so let's just get it out of the way right now. There are some markers and stuff. You got your command point markers, you got some objective markers right here if you want to use them as such, and also breach and guard counters for some of the missions that are inside here, and little faux tape measures as well. So lots and lots of cool content for getting started. If you are and you want to pick up something that you think you're interested in, and it might not be the Soul Wars box, this might be a great start for you. So let's take a look at the new content first. So here is the little campaign book, and it's not too shabby. It's about 41 pages, give or take, and it's got all of your war skulls. It's got 2 specific battalions to actually use in this book, your points cost and everything like that. So it's a self-contained little, I don't know, I guess like army box or little match play kind of setup for these guys. And then of course there are a couple of battle plans in here that you can use. This is the one that features the breaching point markers, and then there's a sneak one. So one you're trying to blast through, 2 the second one you're trying to sneak into a little bit. So it kind of alternates, and then you've got another one that's kind of like a heist type mission here. I'm not sure what counters these use. I think just the objective ones right there that they included. And there's the war scrolls themselves, which include all of the items that are in this specific starter box right here, as you can see. So this one isn't too bad. Each time a wound or mortal wound is allocated to a model from this battalion on a 5-up, that wound or mortal wound is negated. And that's, you know, for all these war machines right here, which is pretty good to have a little 5-up feel no pain, I feel like. And of course there's points for all these right back here. So let's see, for Scourratch's Warp Coven, it's 140 points for that ability, and you have to have, of course, at least one of these, or look specifically one of these. So specifically what comes in this box. And then I don't even know how to say that. That might actually be a made-up word. I'm not sure. Sanctum Guardians. You can reroll failed charge rolls for units from this battalion. In addition to, units from this battalion do not take battle shock tests, which is pretty strong because they actually that could affect them much in the same way it affects ogres, I feel like. Now, what's really cool about this is that a lot of their abilities allow them to just get back wounds and get back different things. And this, having this ability to get a little bit better on the charge, I feel like it's really good and a nice little bonus for these guys too. And then it goes into the war scrolls, which we've already seen. Actually, I don't know. We've seen the preview. I don't know if we've actually seen the rules yet. Some stuff that doesn't matter because it's in the codex, of course, or the battle tome. There's your Warlock Bombardier, and then the pitch battle profiles right there. So everything you need to get started, including some little kind of funsy type narrative missions, are in the Carrion Empire campaign booklet. And speaking of new content, well, we got new miniatures, of course, too. I'm not going to show you the other ones because there's other videos here in this channel that'll show you those. So we got the Warlock Bombardier, and he is just the one single sprue right here, which, you know, looks to be pretty well detailed for the most part. You can see that he's got all sorts of wires and harnesses and little warfire ding-dongs and things. I don't know what all these things do. I'm not a Skavenologist, but apparently they do something. Now, taking a look at his little instruction guide here, you can see where they, once again, I love these clan pack miniatures because they cleverly hide a lot of the gaps and seam lines underneath and in different areas where you wouldn't expect. Now you can see here that the plate actually makes the seam and the robe a seam in the robe right here as well. Like there's, let's see if we can see this. So there's the plate as it snaps into focus. There's the plate right there, and then of course you've got the robe going down on underneath it. And when you flip over and look right here, you can see that the robe, and then there's the little cut where the armor plate would be right there. So all of this you would expect the seam to be right there. It's not like a rounded shoulder pad or anything like that that perhaps might show and you'd have to gap fill it. So it seems like for the most part they did a really good job here kind of hiding the things. And then of course you put the backpack on the back, which is going to be, you know, you might have to trim a little flash, but other than that should be good to go. You've got this tail, and I'm glad they showed this bottom detail right here because that actually goes underneath in this little socket and kind of works its way up and around this little hose right here. So a lot of times their instructions are a little lacking, and this was a really important detail to show folks, because if you just left that right there, that'd be really hard to figure out where does it go? Do I just plug it into the cape? And chances chances are you wouldn't even flip the figure over to see that there's a hole underneath it. So good on Games Workshop for getting on the instruction game too. It's been getting better and better. And then the hose is a two-part kind of type deal that goes to the warp cannon here, and then the front of the sewer cover goes over that once you glue him down. So pretty straightforward. There's the War Scroll rules for him, but again, you probably already have this because you either are picking up the War Scroll cards or you've already got the Battle Tome. And then last but certainly not least is the Abhorrent Arch Regent. Say that 10 times fast. You won't. So here he is, and this is a kind of cool little dynamic model. In the past, their characters have kind of been limited to the Vargolf, which was fine cast, and I think they've redone the mold, so it's actually a really good, better cast than it's just a spin-up mold, because remember it was previously a pewter figure 10 years or so ago. So that's really cool to see that that model is actually coming out in fine cast in a lot better quality. Fine cast overall had got a bad rap because GW tried to use their old existing pewter spin molds for fine cast without putting the time and effort into it to actually develop the technology to make the material get in there with less errors, and then ship those items out and say, hey, you know, this fine cast stuff, it's cool, but buy this liquid green stuff and it's all good. And well, if you played back then, you remember the fallout from that. Long story short, GW has a tendency to make mistakes, but also fix their mistakes going forward as well. So good on them. All right, so we're back. This guy right here, we like to soapbox a lot. We've been around. We've seen some things. We like to talk about it. That's probably why you're here. All right, anyway, so here's this guy right here. And you can see, once again, there is a bunch of computer slices and things. Now, this one's a little bit more organic. So you can kind of see in this area right here. Let's pull this up here. So you can kind of see right here in this area, if it'll snap, that there's a little bit more going on right here. So this might actually show up, or it might just look like a creepy gap because it is kind of an undead guy, right? And then he's got the wings and wing tattered bat wing thing right here, and he attaches in two different spots. Now I was looking at this and it looks like it's very pronounced, which is very good to see right there. You can see the little notch and you can see the other spot right there. So it's not just like telling you to glue that to a bare wall, which is really cool. And then you've got this other arm right here with a claw extended, very cool. And it looks like it goes together, and he's got this like shoulder pad with a little flip up thingamabobber. I don't know what that is. I guess it's like a piece of tattered flesh over perhaps a leather. I think that's a leather kind of shoulder pad brace right there. And then boom, there's the War Scroll. So pretty easy, seems pretty straightforward, looks like a good design in practice, but I would be a little wary of these gap areas right here. Now for the sprue itself, we'll give you a quick look at that. You can kind of see where it notches in. Like we said, it lays flat, it goes on that 40 mil base, and then all the little areas right there. So take it slow, use your thinnest glue possible. I don't like how this face is a half kind of right there. So again, it may need a little gap filling. I like to use that Vallejo plastic putty. Personally, it seems to be the best stuff on the market currently. You can get in a little tube and it'll dry very rock hard, and you can just shave off the parts that aren't in the gap. The more compact it is, the easier and harder it dries, and you can scrape the excess away. It doesn't shrink. It's way better than liquid green stuff or just using green stuff in general. So just watch out for those parts right there, and you should be able to assemble this guy just fine. So overall, for $160, I feel like this isn't a bad deal at all. As with all the starter boxes, you get at least double value MSRP off of your purchase price. 2 playable factions in here with their own battalions, and also new price points for them, and some, it's exclusive to little miniatures right there. So if you feel like maybe the Night Haunts versus the Stormcast aren't for you, and you want to pick up a starter box and learn how to play, this is a perfectly viable solution. But it's also very cool if you were intending on picking up either or perhaps both of these new armies for Age of Sigmar as well. You could even buy a couple of these and have a perfectly playable army as well. You would just need the large zombie dragon kit and maybe a Vargolf courtier, whatever they're called. But overall, Flesh-Eater Courts, you really wouldn't need much else to actually get a playable force on the table unless you wanted to split them and play them as death with some of the other cool new Night Haunty type things right there. So that's it for this one. Thank you very much for watching our unbox and review of the new Carrion Empire. I think it's a great set, like I said, and you know, they'll probably only be out for a limited time, so if you think about it, now's the time to jump on these things, as they are not around for as long as some of us would like out there. So please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to be the very first to like and comment on all our videos.